actress Rhea Perlman, actor Fyvush Finkel, author Harlan Ellison, and conservative activist Star Parker. And now, the star of Politically Incorrect, Perlman!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, folks. Okay, well, thank you, please. Thank you very much, but please, we've got a lot of material to cover. Now, Super Bowl, I guess you saw the Super Bowl. I don't know, that game is confusing to me. It's an amazing game. First, I see Desmond Howard return to kickoff to dance in the end zone, and then Fred Astaire return from the dead to dance with a vacuum cleaner. What's going on? Well, interesting survey showed that Colin Powell is leading, as we might suspect, for the Republican nomination. More people want him, and if he would win, they say it would be a big victory for Republicans, a big victory for blacks, and a big victory for men who are constantly told what to do by their wives. So, I get the wives. Well, here's an interesting fact. The Citadel, you know the Citadel, they've been much in the news lately. The military school, the two young ladies left, that they've had a tremendous dropout rate this year, and they're trying to figure out why. They've commissioned a study of it, and so far, all they've been able to find out is that apparently it sucks to be constantly screamed at by redneck skinheads. I guess... And Newt Gingrich, did you see him over the weekend? He went back to Georgia to talk to his constituents and once again put his foot in his mouth. What a surprise. And he is apparently very concerned. You know, he's got this $300,000 fine that the Ethics Committee levied at him, and he doesn't know how to pay it. But he wanted to remind the Americans that because he is in such financial trouble, that there has never been a better time to buy his influence. And... finally, interesting statistic, African Americans are the car seller's best friend this year. They have bought more cars than anybody else, largest growing segment of the market, and so tens and tens of thousands of black Americans will be driving off the lot this year, except for O.J. Simpson, who is expected to walk. All right, thanks for coming. It's all been satirized for your protection. Welcome to Politically Incorrect, and let's meet our panel. First, Rush Limbaugh called her the brightest light of the black conservative movement. Her new book is Pimps, Whores, and Welfare Brats. It's not a cookbook. Star Parker. Hello, Kitty. How you doing? Thank you very much. Sit right down. Okay, the Washington Post called him one of the greatest living American short story writers. His new books are Edgeworks 1 and 2. Harlan Ellison. Hey, good to see you back.
How you doing,
Glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Wow. Got your wardrobe mixed up with Pauly Shore, I see. He started acting at the age of 9 and 63 years later won an Emmy for his work on picket fences. Fyvush Finkel. Fyvush.
Ah, it's a pleasure.
You're in fine fettle as always, Fyvush. Hey, please. You sure you milked it enough, Fyvush? Come on, sit down. She won 4 Emmys for playing Carla on Cheers. Now she stars in Pearl Wednesdays. Rhea Perlman. Hey, gorgeous. Thank you very much for doing this. Okay. Well, here's what I want to talk about tonight. It was kind of a slow news day, so I thought we would do this story that caught our interest about a week ago in the paper, because you all have funny names, quite frankly.
How perceptive of you to have noticed that.
Yes, I did, and we booked it that way. We wanted a panel of funny names to talk about strangers in a strange land. Now, there is this village in New York, very near where I grew up. I grew up in Bergen County, New Jersey, and right across the line there's a town called Muncie, which has the third largest concentration of Orthodox Jews in the world.
Orthodox. They do a sack dance in the shul, is that?
Oh, we said nothing. Relax.
I'll get you later. But, no, after Israel and Brooklyn, more Orthodox Jews live in Muncie, New York. Now, the problem is that they sort of really want their own lifestyle there. I mean, they are not really willing to melt in this melting pot. They come up against the laws all the time. For example, zoning laws. In the town, you're not allowed to have multi-family dwellings, but they have, because the Bible says be fruitful and multiply, they have like 12 kids.
Only the Bible. Anthony Quinn does it every day.
I didn't know he was Jewish, but... But no, I don't know. Now you are Jewish, and I don't know your heritage.
I'm Jewish.
I'm Jewish. You're Jewish?
Yeah, I'm Jewish.
Oh, I didn't know.
Son of Eli, Ellison. I'm also an atheist, but I'm also a Jew.
You
Jewish atheist.
you also have a little Italian in you.
No, only by marriage. I'm married
That's
to...
what I meant.
Yeah. The reason I didn't know what you meant was because you said a little Italian.
Very good. Very good.
All right, Bill, I'm not Jewish. I'll be on your
Yes,
side.
you're not. Anyway.
It's your fault. You invited us.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm asking. Well, I guess what I'm asking is, like, if you're in this country and we consider a melting pot, shouldn't you melt a little?
A little. A little. There's a line.
They don't want to melt at all.
Well, they're fanatics. They're nutcases. You know, what can I tell you?
Wait a minute. I wouldn't say they're not.
Hey, I know Orthodox Jews. Some of my family, they're nutcases. Trust me
they're
on
not.
this.
No.
That's your family, not mine.
Your family are Shtum?
Huh?
Your family are Frum?
Oh, I am.
You are? You're Orthodox?
Yes. Oh, yes.
But that's
really?
not Hasidic. That's a different
No,
thing. That's
I'm not a fanatic about it.
But
they're fanatic. That's what I said.
Well,
no, but there's a bigger issue at hand. I mean, we have a lot of people now that are unwilling to assimilate in this culture, and we have to define what is our American culture again. It's not just the Orthodox Jews we're looking at. A lot of people from various cultures and other nationalities are coming to America and wanting to maintain their culture, their everything about it, whether it's marrying
you should be
kids
able
or
to
eating
maintain
animals.
your culture. I think it's important to remember your roots.
Well, yeah, your roots, but I mean, there are some people we've heard of late that are killing puppies to eat them because in their land they can eat puppies. There are others that marry little kids because that's their culture. How much are we going to allow?
Those people, the travelers? Did you hear about?
Oh,
those.
Yeah, the Scottish travelers.
Who were they?
They I don't know. They live somewhere in the middle of the country. They raise children, the girl children, to be sexy. At the age of 4. Like really, they flaunt around. And they have their own little community, and they go out as a living. What they do is they go out and all over the country and rob people. So they rip people off. They try to, they say that they're contractors or they're builders.
They'll fix your roof for you, and then they take your money and leave you.
They're like gypsies.
And they're like gypsies, and this is what they do, and they have their own protected community.
But see, a lot of them now,
well,
it's not right, but a lot of them now are hiding behind this freedom of religion, and then what happens is they get into these liberal courts in front of a judge who says, well, I guess it's okay, and they get off with very light sentences. So now we have more people doing it because it's in vogue.
Yes, Fyvush.
The Hasidim,
Yes, sir.
they're all over the world. Now, those that are here, they do a lot of public services. You have one in California called the Chabad, which is non-sectarian. They do charity for everybody, whoever walks in. They pay their taxes, and they're entitled to believe in any way they want to believe because they're in a country where you can do that. You have the Amish.
Okay.
Yeah, but
You have the Amish, you have the Quakers.
yes.
They're nearly the same principle, but that's why they're here.
Okay, I have to take a break. We'll come back to this when we return.
If you're planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 213-852-2655.
Okay, we're talking about whether these people who live this Hasidic village, where there's thousands and thousands of very Orthodox Jewish people and Hasidics, and they believe that they are on a mission to establish their synagogues and so forth, and that when the laws of their Bible conflict with U.S. laws, the Bible takes precedence. Now, isn't that a dangerous thing in America? I mean, would we tolerate it if Arabs did that? I don't think so.
Or if the militia in Montana did it.
Right.
But there's an interesting thing about, pre-Hitler Germany, the Jews in Germany were fully integrated. That was a melting pot. They were fully integrated, and they believed they were part of the society. When Hitler took over, they learned to their dismay that they were still Jews, and they were carted away. The curse of the melting pot, it seems to me, is that it leads you to believe you are actually part of the commonweal, but when the time comes to point out something wrong, you always get it in the neck, whether it's you or Latinos or blacks or whoever it is. If somebody hasn't got a job, some schmendrick, he automatically says, you're the one who took the job away from him. The fact that he was too stupid even to flip a hamburger at McDonald's doesn't enter into it.
Right.
If you wouldn't use words like schmendrick, they wouldn't know, and they wouldn't come for you. But
Actually,
they would know.
What?
They would know.
you know that you just spoke for about a minute and a half and you said nothing.
Yeah, I thought I did.
Fyvush,
No, actually.
you know how many times I've wanted to say that to a guest on this show?
What was it I didn't say? What part didn't you understand?
But he said something.
No, I think it made a lot of sense.
The law of this country, I'm an alleged lawyer, see? The law of this country is based on the Bible, which they have.
Well, but it conflicts with the Bible sometimes.
It may
Often
conflict,
cases.
but a lot of the principles are based on the commandments.
Yeah, but what happens
No,
when
they're based
not?
on British
Which ones
common
are-
law. Has nothing to do with the Bible.
Right.
No,
It's
they're
British
really
common law.
Judeo-Christian ethic.
Common law, get it.
Right, from the Judeo-Christian ethic. But this is a real situation, though,
Listen
because
to
now
her.
we have...
I'm listening to you, too.
No, you made a lot of sense when you start talking about diversity and the multiculturalism, and there's a certain part of your heritage you want to maintain, or you called it roots earlier, but... When, as Americans, if we don't have like a common culture that we all can identify with, then you are going to start having all these sects, and that's what we're seeing now.
And then it's
You know,
Bosnia. Then you got Bosnia.
Well, yeah, of course you do. And then you have also ritual worship. I remember this case. Remember when this guy, right after we made that zero tolerance for weapons in schools, in elementary schools, and one of the little boys at the school wore this knife around his neck, and he got expelled. Y'all remember that? And then he said it was part of his religion.
Yeah.
They went through the whole system, and sure enough, it was part of his religion. So this kid gets to wear a knife to school. Well, then why not the gangster in South Central? He could say it's his religion,
It
right?
seems like if you come here, people who come here from other countries usually come here because this is the country where they want to live.
Exactly.
For some reason or other, this is what's attracted them to be here, whether it's better jobs, free speech, whatever it is, and you have to take into account the ways of our
That's
country
right, we have our
and
laws.
our culture,
That's right.
you know, and never to forget your own and where you came from, but you have to assimilate to some extent. And I think
Live
that
by
we're
the law.
talking about really the freaks. I mean, like really, we're not talking about the majority of immigrants
don't
that
see
come here.
themselves as
No, they don't see
freaks
But I
themselves
mean,
as
in
freaks.
terms of like the amount, I mean, we are all here from other countries. There's
Yeah, but
very
still,
few
but
Americans,
right, but it's gotten out of hand. I mean, you have now where states are being sued or little cities because their name is too close to a Christian name, for instance, and then yet in other places you walk in and they have Buddha statues and no one says anything about separate church from state. Then, I mean, we have some real issues here that
And
in this
some
freedom of
cultures,
religion.
It's okay. There's a group here, the Hmong or the Hmong. They're from Laos and they live in California. They came after the Vietnam War and they believe in marriage by capture.
Yeah, you heard about that? That's true.
I mean,
Well, that's what happened to me. My wife captured me.
all right, we have to take a break. We'll come back. Okay, Switching subjects, this week the Los Angeles Film Critics gave their Lifetime Achievement Award to Roger Corman, who made such films as Attack of the Crab Monsters. And this caused a big stir in Hollywood. And I must say, this reverberates around the country because the person who is overlooked year after year for Lifetime Achievement Awards is Elia Kazan. Now, if you don't know who that is, young people, I'm sure were not around. I certainly was not around. He has been overlooked because, I don't think there's any doubt about it, in the 50s, during the McCarthy era, the Red Scare, when people were afraid of communists, I think justly so, he named names. They had committees, Senate committees. I'm sure you remember, Fyvush.
I do.
Okay, they had committees. Let me just explain this. And they asked people to name names. In other words, to rat, if you will, on their friends and say, who was a communist? Who were you with communists in the 30s and 40s? And this was a very divisive thing to this day. That's why he is not being honored.
He fell over his own feet.
Wait a second. Just let me finish so people understand what's going on, okay? He did name names. Several other people did. He was the most prominent. Some people said he did it to save his own ass, and his career did go forward. Now, he has not been forgiven by this Hollywood community, and I know you hate him.
Oh, like poison, and people say, well, you know, other people do bad things and we forgive them, and he's a great artist. Yeah, he's a great artist, great director. He's also a rat fink. He ruined people's lives. He ratted people out. He was a mumser, and he deserves exactly what he got. It's not, you know, nobody has denied him any awards. The man's got 2 Oscars, for sake. During all the years that he was working and making pictures, other people couldn't work. Zero Mostel didn't work for 25 years.
Do you feel the same way?
I'll tell you something. It's a very difficult...
Because you're ambivalent about it.
I'll tell you, according to what he says, it's hard to understand him. He keeps talking Jewish all night, you know. But I'll tell you one thing, he's a very serious man. Even though he is an alien, he's a very serious man. And I like him. I really do. You see, now,
But you must remember the blacklist.
I certainly do. And that was the biggest disgrace that we ever went through because the committee, for example, Parnell,
it was before McCarthy. This was before, it had nothing to do with McCarthy.
Had nothing to do. That was way before McCarthy.
Right.
Now Parnell, who yelled at those people.
It was 1952. It was around the same time.
Yes.
The point is they were...
J. Parnell Thomas is who he's talking about. He was the chairman.
That's right. J. Parnell Thomas, who yelled at those great artists, you're traitors, you're nobody, you're not Americans. He was arrested a few years later for not paying income tax.
Well, that's very ironic.
A lot of people, they put the shroud of the American flag about them, and they're the worst scum I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. So a lot of them.
So nobody tells.
You know, do you agree with this?
Let her talk. She's got a hit show.
All right already.
I don't think you can separate a person's work from their life. And in this particular case, this is a wound that is so personal to the people who are giving this award. These people, it's their award to give, the American Film Institute. The board of people, they are people who have been personally hurt. Their friend has been hurt, their brother, their cousin, whatever, was not allowed to work because of this man's actions. And I think it's totally, and the American thing is not to rat on people. And it's a totally...
Wait, whoa. No. Then why do we have a justice system? Why do we have witnesses? If you say that American thing is not to rat on people, then why is it that we expect people to tell on employees that are stealing? That we expect for people to identify in a lineup the person that committed a crime? Are we going to have this standard throughout all of society?
Would you like an answer?
But we were afraid of communism at that time. Yes.
You want an answer? I'll give you an answer. There is a big difference. There is a big difference between Johnny Chickenbones ratting out a capo or some kid in a gang ratting out somebody who's selling drugs.
What is it?
Oh,
tell me.
Elia Kazan, who is one of the wealthiest people in the business, in the business, who did it to save his tuchus the day after he gave names.
Wait.
He signed a contract for $500,000.
Okay, but wait a minute. Is that more relevant to a narc about what? No, bring it back to the subject at hand for people that don't understand. Communism was a real issue in this country.
And there were people...
No, communism is a belief. Political belief.
Big threat.
What was the USSR?
That's yesterday's news, kid.
But it wasn't in the 50s.
It was still in the 50s. Everybody was drunk and crazy. I went to the Communist Party headquarters in New York. It was 4 old guys with $1 million.
All right, I have to take a break. Let's get back to this. Okay, that's why we're going to have Meatloaf, Norm Macdonald, Ellison Stewart, Linda Balls. Now, I have to say one very quickly. Now, I was not alive when this went on, but I was alive in 1989 and 1990 when the Berlin Wall fell, and I was alive and read the accounts of what communism was when they went into the files there. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something, Ronald Reagan was never more right when he said this was an evil empire. Right. Evil, evil, evil. So I really think anyone who did something to bring it down got to reserve a little judgment.
That's right.
Well, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
The trials that they were holding were as evil as the communist mock trials in which they got people to confess to things.
It was a kangaroo court.
It was a kangaroo court.
But you're judging
That's
the system as opposed to what happened.
Here
you have an individual now who did his duty, he believes, as an American citizen to say, yes, not only have I attended communist meetings, but so have my friends, and here's their name. He was being asked by the...
You're watching ABC.